Hello, and welcome to Unpacking with CargoBae. On this episode, I'm going to address the most asked question that I get on a daily basis. How can I become a pilot? Am I too young? Am I too old? How much? We're going to discuss that, your exact pathway to becoming a pilot. First of all, welcome from Seoul, South Korea. I have 60 hours on a layover here, so I am ready to get to it. So let's jump right into your pathway into becoming a pilot, for real, for real. All right, first off, the age. You're never too young and you're never too old to start. Now, the limitation on the lower end of the spectrum is you need to be at least 17 years old to get your private pilot license. That's your first license, your initial license. You need to be 17. So I know kids that start taking flight lessons or, just go flying at, 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old. And by the time they reach their 17th birthday, they take their private pilot test and they pass. So that's the only restriction on the lower end of the spectrum. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, to become an airline pilot, mandatory retirement age is 65. So you have to take that into consideration. I'm going to discuss schooling here in a second, but theoretically, it'll take you about 5 years of schooling before you're going to be at your airline job. So if you're in your 50s, you'll make it, but you won't have much time at the airline. But definitely, if you're in your 30s and your 40s, it's not too late. You can get started and still give up to 20 years at a career as an airline pilot. All right, so let's talk about flight school. Google a flight school near you. It's that simple. Just go ahead and type in flight schools near me, call them up, ask for a discovery flight. And then from there, you're going to meet a certified flight instructor. That's a CFI. Ask as many questions as you want. But typically speaking, to get all your flight certificates and ratings, it's going to take you about 2 years and $100,000. Yeah, I didn't stutter. It's about $100,000 to get all your flight licenses. But it's definitely worth it once you make it to the majors. So you go to flight school, and theoretically, if you're flying 3 times a week, you'll be able to get all your flight licenses and certificates in about 2 years. Now, after that 2 years, you'll graduate or you'll have all your certifications with approximately 300 hours. Now, your first airline job, the regionals, they're not going to hire you until you have at least 1,500 hours. So you have to build your time from 300 hours to 1,500 hours before you can land your first regional airline job. So to fill that gap, some people become flight instructors, some people fly skydivers, some people do banner towing, or some people flat out just pay for it and just rent an aircraft, go flying, just up and down the coast, around the country, just trying to build that time because that's what's most important. Okay, so boom, 1,500 hours. Now you get hired by your first regional airline. You'll get hired into the right seat as a first officer, and you'll stay there for about 2 years, and then you upgrade to captain. And then once you're a captain, the minimums to go to the major airlines on the passenger side, that's Delta, United, and American. And on the cargo side, it's FedEx and UPS. So the minimum captain requirements for the passenger guys is 0. 0 captain time required for the minimums for you to apply to go fly for those guys. On the cargo side, UPS, you need to have at least 1,000 hours of captain time before you can apply. And for FedEx, it's 500 hours. So once you upgrade to captain at the regional, if you want to go Delta, American, United, it's very possible and likely that you'd get picked up before you even upgrade or shortly after you upgrade to captain. But you won't be able to apply or qualify for the major cargo carriers until you have at least 1,000 hours and 500 hours. So I hope that answers a lot of your questions. Of course, if you want me to expand on anything else, go ahead, drop it in. I'll try to answer your questions. But until then, you guys take it easy. See ya.